have this hand which is waving to you, almost in the color of diversity, neurodiversity flag.
Yeah.
Or just a
Also,
little
please,
bit.
if you could plug the website that and the Instagram page.
What did you say?
If you can, like push the Instagram and the store.
Yes, I will do that
Okay.
when I am posting, so I can refer to
Okay.
that.
All right, thank you.
Amazing. Okay. Welcome to Diversity is the Game Changer, the new episode. And today we have a powerhouse, a very, very special guest. I am looking so much forward. And our podcast episode title today, From Stigma to Strength, Raising the Neurodiversity Flag with Josh MIRSKY.
It's a
So
pleasure.
thank you. How are you today, Josh?
Great. I literally just came off of a state board meeting about the flag and neurodiversity. So it was
Mhm.
very good meeting. Very good meeting.
Amazing. And we will come to that. I would like just to pull a little bit intro about your magical impact and stuff you're doing. Because I already know, guys, you have no idea. This guy, he is unstoppable, invincible. He's like my new inspirational flame, basically, period. Okay.
Thank
What
you.
if everything you were taught made you less was actually preparing you to become a leader of change like Josh? In this deeply moving, powerful episode, we welcome a guest whose life story is not just one of resilience, but of transformation, purpose, and revolution. Born into an environment that rejected difference, shaped by systems that failed to protect, strengthened by adversity that could have broken anyone, but not him. But with this dead pain, something extraordinary was being built. A mindset that refused victimhood, a belief that suffering had meaning, a decision to turn adversity into purpose. And then a turning point, October 26, 2021. The moment everything changed. Our guest identified the true enemy, not people, but a mind virus, stigma. A force that silently shapes lives, limits opportunities, and spreads across generations. And instead of staying silent, he created something so powerful. He will be showing us a symbol of identity, a movement, the neurodiversity strength flag. Today, we explore not just a personal journey, but a mission to redefine how the world sees neurodiversity. So, welcome to the show. My greatest
Thank you. It's an honor to be here. I've looked up this and this is really fascinating. When I say interesting, that's a good word coming from me. Interesting. So this is really fascinating, interesting experience. Knowing that this whole thing's caught the attention of folks even in Europe, it's pretty wild.
Yeah, and for us also to host you, and I know you have all this major news, and now I'm following you every day, and not just me but also my followers, and like, oh my god, say hi to this guy. And well, my friends, they are actually neurodivergent, especially ADHD, is like, okay, we are obsessed with this guy now, like, and it's so cool. So please tell us, before we actually come into all these big challenge, no, big achievements you are actually executing every single day now. Tell us a little bit more about, of course, your roots, your childhood, because all of us, we are coming from this part, like, and
Yeah.
DNA of our childhood has long lasting echo on us in adulthood, right? So please take us to the experience of Josh, and
Well,
I already mentioned that, but now it's your mic, and please feel absolutely free to share your story. Thank you so much.
of course. Well, a lot of my memories are repressed, horrible memories, and I know that only because sometimes they seep up, and I usually pray, like, please God, remove these memories from my mind, and they do. A couple which I do remember was being always the outcast, even in preschool. I knew something was off because all the kids would be playing blocks, and they'd exclude me, and they'd like poke fun of me because I was obsessed with at the time the color blue and the letter B. So they in preschool, I remember they had this big plastic bee, and in my mind, I would gravitate towards it because it reminded me of my toothpaste Oreo B on there. But I'd hold it and never want to leave, and all the kids would like be staring at me. Like, why is he holding B? And this is even preschool, and I'd be holding onto this safe object, and my mom would try to defend me for because the other parents would even yell. My mom told me would even yell like poke fun, like, "Oh, that's the weird kid." So that's where it started. And always growing up, I always knew that wherever I go, for some reason, people would hate me or laugh at me. And I don't like going to the past because it's painful, and it's also I don't like to view it as a pity party. Um, back then, even during high school, it was terrible. I remember one time I got punched right in the head, and the gym teacher was just like, the guy's name is Frank. He's like, "Oh, Frank, cut it out," and let it slide. And then he didn't get in trouble. I got in trouble for some reason. So there's a lot of stuff like that, and I was manipulated like crazy during middle school. But the whole thing is, and I want people to take away from this and don't feel bad for me. And it's really two things. One, I have an amazing family. My mom literally never gave up on me. Um, that's so important. You gotta have a nurturing figure in your life which won't give up on you. It's the most beautiful thing, and it's inspiring to me. And second of all, you need to have this mindset that everything is preparing you for something. You know, it's not what happens to you in life, it's how you interpret it, right? You could go through hell and you could go saying, "Oh, woe is me." And that's a really easy route to go down, by the way. "Oh, woe is me," feel bad about yourself, and then everything happened to you for nothing. You just became a victim. Or you can say, "Hey, this is really tough. This is not fair. Life is not fair, but this is preparing me for the real world. And I'm going to be stronger than other people because I have been forged in fire." You know, if you've ever gone someplace, Valerie, have you ever seen stained glass art?
Seeing glass art, what is
Yes,
it?
stained glass. Like a piece of stained glass. It's
Yes, 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 of course. Yes.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's
Hmm.
beautiful, right? It's
Yeah.
beautiful. Now, that beauty did not, someone just didn't say, "Oh, here we go, we're going to glue stuff." No, it was forged in literal fire. The glass was forged in fire
Hmm.
and then fused to do that. That's what life is like. If you're going to be forged in fire if you want to really be something strong. Strength doesn't come from the easy times. There's a saying that a smooth sea doesn't make a skilled sailor, and it's true. It's really true. So if you're neurodivergent, listen to this. You probably either went through hell or continue going through hell. It's making you stronger than your neurotypical counterpart. So you're going through things which other people couldn't handle, and you still do. So congratulations to you. You're stronger than you think.
Thank you so much. It's so powerful. It's like exactly what I'm passionately advocating. That neurodiversity is not weakness, it's your mental uniqueness. It's not disability, but it's plausibility, and it's possibility, and it's not
Yeah.
disorder. This is so important to understand, and I'm so happy to hear that your family and your mother, she was always beside you. This is so important to uh, to to stay, like, against the whole this stigma and prejudice and communities, which is still basically designed for neurotypical people. We know
Yeah.
that, but supportive people, they are so so important. So please, who can listen to us today, and they have neurodivergent kids, have the huge trust in them. It's superpower, really, and you should support them, and all the time say how much actually they mean, how unique they are, right?
Yeah.
It's superpowers, but of course, everything was different, like, and since the centuries was like labeled like some disadvantage. This is like, it's something not positive. It was always like outcasting
Yeah.
all the. So
It
first of all,
still
thank you
is
for your
in a lot
advocacy.
of circles.
Can you
It
tell
still
us
is.
about this mission that, like you said, really you created something really powerful,
Yeah.
going through your adversities, but you managed to turn it into a really creative
Well,
fuel, right?
I'd
And
like to show
now,
you and your guest something here.
please show us. Yeah.
So in October of 2021, I decided something needed to be done.
Mm-hmm.
Because again, we go through so much hell as a community. We really, and people always say this all the time. We live in a society which isn't designed for us, and as much as I hate to say it's true, it's kind of true. So I realized something needed to be done. So
Mm-hmm.
on this table over there, it's kind of a mess now, but I drew something, and from the beginning, I told everyone, and no one believed me. I said, "This is going to be known throughout the world one day, and this is going to be as strong as the pride flag is, but for our community." And everyone laughed. No one's laughing anymore. This is the prototype right here I made on October 2021. The
Mhm.
prototype of the Neurodiversity Strength flag. It took me less than a half hour to make it because I had it in my head. And the story behind that day was I was meeting with the senator, now former senator, and about this because I was talking about my idea for a flag, and he said, "Well, do you have a design?" And I thought to myself, "Oh, I don't have the design paper." So I left work really early. I zoomed down to this art store. I go in there and I know exactly what I'm gonna get. I'm gonna need that. I think it's protractor, which is like the bent ruler. Because I knew I need to make a diamond and stuff. And I remember I went in there and I told the guy right away when I walked in, I said, "I'm here to make a flag which the whole world's gonna know." And he was like, "Okay, sure." I think he was high, to be honest with you. I'm being completely honest. But I was like, "Okay, show me where your oil pastels are." And I chose those colors because those colors are usually recognized as the symbols for neurodiversity and autism.
Okay.
So from there, it's been literally every single day. And I'll go into that if you ask me exactly what fueled me. But I want to go into something that's recently happened, which is very fresh in memory. So
Yeah.
you'll see over here these two blue folders. I'd like to now share with you what
Mhm.
they're in because this is a very big deal. So for first, I'm gonna later on go into how the state of New York has lit up all the landmarks and everything, and that's a really big deal. But these are the first documents of the federal government. For your international viewers, America is filled with state governments. Each territory is like a state,
Mhm.
and the federal government. That's the part of the government which controls everything, from
Mhm.
Congress, Senate, and the president. The
Mhm.
federal government governs the entirety of the nation. Now,
Mhm.
here we have in this one we have a congressional record. What a congressional record is something that's entered into the records of the United States Congress, one of the most powerful bodies of the whole United States government.
Mhm.
I'll read to you a portion of this because no one's ever done this. There's never been any part of government which has recognized the genuine struggles of neurodiversity, not just the sugar-coated crap. We're talking about the real stuff because we need to cover the real topics if we want to change anything, right? So
Yeah.
we talk about Josh MIRSKY created the Neurodiversity Strength flag. This is the part which is really important, though. It talks about the flag, but also says, sadly, too many neurodivergent Americans feel that they do not belong and that the world is not designed for them. Too often they face, remember, this is a federal document in Congress. Too often they face ignorance and stigma. They face bullying at school, work, and even with families. They are picked last for sports teams and scolded by teachers for behaviors they themselves do not understand. They struggle at job interviews when employers misinterpret differences in communication styles. For Josh MIRSKY and other neurodivergent, and it goes on then to talk about the flag, which I could read the whole thing if you guys want. But the point is, the reason I highlighted those things is because this is the first time the federal government of the United States has ever acknowledged that neurodivergent Americans go through these things. This is the first time. That's going to lead to change because, and some things I can't go into now, but there are some things in the works are which depend on certain things. I can't, I'm not really at liberty to say, but that's a major first step. Okay, that's the United States Congress
Mhm.
doing that. That is now on congressional record. If you want, you can look up Josh MIRSKY, and a link to it comes up. This is also a word all about the Neurodiversity Strength flag. So this is from the United States Congress. That was a little less than a week ago. This is, although it's a congressional record in my name,
Mhm.
this is also a win for the entire community. And I want to emphasize that this is for the entire community because what is going on here, these are going to be beginning to make changes, not just for this generation, but the ones left. Because I view it as this, and again, I'll go into all that later, but I view it as this. I'm a millennial. It is not my generation's fault that we are born into a world of stigmas, but it is 1,000% my generation's fault if the next generation are born into stigmas. And I will be damned if I am part of that problem. I want to be part of the solution. Because I'm single right now, but if and when I meet someone and if they become the one and I have a family, I want them to grow up in a world way better than the one I did. I will be damned if my future children grow up in a world like the one I did. So that is a major driving force of this. That's why I got a letter from the now former president. That's why this is a government proclamation talking about the Neurodiversity Strength Flag and Autism Acceptance Month. That is too. I have all this stuff because I try every day. I have a sickly obsession with this because you need that. We
Yep.
we need a civil rights movement. We really do. We have to have one. Neurodiverse people always get screwed. And it's not just in America, I imagine, it's everywhere. We always get screwed. There's always other movements. Always. Or there's always something else. Something happens on the news and we need to focus on that. Something this, something that. And never is it talk about neurodivergent people. Never. When there's social movements, they focus on other things. They focus on other groups. Never on us. It's about time they do. It's about time that we demand that they do. We need press coverage. We need all this stuff because nothing's going to change unless we come together as a community. We can't be infighting. So if we need to be organized, that's the only way. Other successful social movements. Look at Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. He's an inspiration to me. I recently went to D.C. and saw his monument after I got awarded by Congress. It was a really inspirational thing. That dude was able to galvanize the community. Say, hey, we all have different opinions on how to do things. We all may see the world differently, but we are all a community and we all believe in the dream of civil rights. And you know what? He was very successful. That is what we need. We need to garner that. So, yeah,
Wow.
that's just some of
Your
that.
passion, Josh, is so contagious. I'm like sitting now, marinated through it, and I can be really like magnetized towards. Wow, what a powerhouse and such a great job and impact. You are really not just talking about, you're living it like with all single atom and molecule. And we need people exactly look, I feel the same, because we don't belong. This is so true. And why we have always question also that there is something wrong with us and we should fix our brains to fit in the system. Why is it like this? System should evolve and change as well, right? It's a
I
response.
think it's because there are people out there in the world who see people who are different and they intentionally want to keep them out.
Mhm.
Systems, at the end of the day, are made by people. Systems do not just appear, they are made by people. People with intentions. If a system exists which is keeping people out, it is inherently designed that way in some form. We need to figure out why. Why are systems out there trying to keep neurodivergent people out? Why are there systems out there that exclude people? Why is it? Why there's a lot of media and stuff. Why isn't the media covering this to the extent they should? They cover pride. They cover pride. They cover civil rights. Why not this? We need to start questioning why. That's what I think. And we need to push for it. Because a lot of times I'm looking at my rabbit over here. I'm gonna go into the story of the rabbit and why a couple of things about this rabbit really come to here. First of all, the rabbit represents giving a chance. My bunny Cotton, I found her behind a dumpster when she was 2 months old, summer 2024. Someone bought her as an Easter bunny, didn't want her, and she was abandoned. I picked her up and saved her life. That represents giving chance. You see a community who needs help, and know what you do? You lay a hand. You extend a hand. That is what we need to do. But no one is doing that. So we need to be the hand for each other. We need to extend a hand to each other. Rabbits
Mhm.
also don't have a voice box. So they're silent.
Mhm.
You need to advocate for them to give them a voice. A lot of neurodivergent people are silent. A lot of them have communication disorders where they can't communicate. We need to advocate on each other. We need to be each other's voices because some of us don't have a voice. We need to give them a voice. So there are things like that, which also the other thing about the rabbit. My rabbit Cotton has a bunch of disabilities. She looks fine, nothing physical, but she has a lot of disabilities. She's constantly getting sick. The vet doesn't really know what it is, but and that also a lot of folks who are neurodivergent. You look at them, and I get this all the time. People are like, "Oh, you don't look autistic, Josh. Oh, you
Mhm.
don't." But you have to remember, not all disabilities are visible.
Exactly.
So these are
Yeah.
things which you could take away from this. So that's why I use my rabbit as a metaphor. Because folks, we need to be able to advocate for each other. We need to stop being keyboard warriors. Because keyboard warriors, this is big in the community. I'm seeing this because I'm looking like, oh my God, there are people are so quick to judge one another instead of helping one another. We need to learn about each other, not rip each other apart. If we are not organized, nothing will happen of great substantiality. Martin Luther King was able to organize. Again, back then, there were different viewpoints on how to do civil rights, but they became organized. They stopped going at each other's throats and look at the progress. That's what we need.
Josh, can you explain? I know this story. We have already been communicating about this. Exactly what is actually presented on the flag, because I know what it is. You have
Well,
already disclosed to me, but can you tell not just about colors, but the design itself, what it means?
yes. So let me just find a picture of the flag because that's the prototype over there.
Mm-hmm.
So here we have this picture. This was kindly printed out by the state government. So I want to thank New York State government for printing this out.
Mm-hmm.
In it, we see a lot of symbolism.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot. There's red, a diamond, and gold, the
Mm-hmm.
infinity symbol. And a lot of these have several meanings. People, when they quote me, they only quote one meaning, which is not the case. So I'll go over it. We see on here red is a power color. It represents strength. We all have immense inner strength. Like we said earlier, we're talking about these stigmas. We go through hell, folks. We do. And that's not just in your head. If people say it's in your head, they're gaslighting you. And
Mm-hmm.
drop whoever's saying that. That's not healthy. And we get up every morning knowing that we're going to face these and we're going to face them head on like a boss. That takes immense inner strength. And
Mm-hmm.
never let anyone tell you otherwise, because if they do, they're lying. You're strong as hell. If you're neurodivergent watching this, gold represents first place. If I'm being honest, and I know a lot of you probably what I'm about to say are gonna agree, we are treated as second or third class citizens. It's, oh, you should be grateful for this opportunity. Oh, you should be grateful that you're getting a crumb of the pie. That type of shit. That has to end. That has to end yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
Part of this, the gold represents that. We're done being treated as second or third class citizens. We're done with that shit. It's over. This is unapologetically bold, saying no, we're first class just like you, and all you neurotypicals. We're not talking about supremacy. Someone once said, oh, is this supremacy, Josh? No, it's not supremacy. It's about equality and being unapologetic about demanding it. The
Mm-hmm.
diamond represents value. Now, value is a very important thing. See, because when society values something, they make action about it. We've
Yeah.
always known our value. Look back in history. Look at Amadeus Mozart, one of the greatest composers of all freaking time. He was obviously very neurodivergent if you study him.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously. You know what? At the time, he was valued a little bit. But after time, he's valued a lot. People value Mozart. They should value us. We're all neurodivergent. We demand value too. We want people to see our value. That's the diamond. Now,
Mm-hmm.
this is where people often just quote me on one thing, and it kind of bugs me. The infinity symbol.
Mm-hmm.
It represents a couple things. One is the symbol of autism acceptance, but that's not all of it, because the thing is, and that's also why red and gold are there. Red and gold are because neurodivergence, not just autistics. I'm autistic, that's part of neurodiversity, but I'm also other things, and this is for all neurodivergence, not just autism.
Mm-hmm.
So it's the color chosen by neurodivergence, but also the infinity symbol. It's because of infinite possibilities. We need to look to the future and not limit ourselves to small little thinking, because oftentimes we all have this voice. It's been installed in us, and it tells us, no, no, that's not realistic. No, it's not possible. Oh, you can't do that. It's not rational. That's a bunch of bullshit, which was installed in you at a young age by the quote unquote rational adults. The
Mm-hmm.
rational adult who didn't go, I'm going to be honest with you, probably didn't go the full way themselves because they had that installed. You need to uninstall that. There's an infinite amount of possibilities out there if you truly believe in it. It's hard, but it's true. The future is created by folks who do not limit themselves by what's rational. It's those who believe in the irrational. Those are the ones who shape things. So that's another reason why the infinity symbol's here. An interesting thing I realized after I made it is if you fold this, every design's equal. This is equal to that. You can fold it and everything's equal. I think
Mm,
that's interesting. And I believe that also has symbolism. Um, because all we want is equality. That's all we want. We're not supremacy. We're
mm-hmm.
not that. We're equality. And that's so important. And that's what all these represent. These represents the fact that we're going places. The
Yeah.
news coverage of it represents we're going places. But we have a far more way to go. And I have for over 5 years now worked on that every single day. That has been my rock. That has been my anchor. When I went through extremely hard times, you know, I go through depression at times, and there was one depression really bad. It was because the stress on this, because no one was helping me. This is about 2022 or something, 2023, and I kept pushing. I kept pushing. I got depressed really bad. I kept pushing. I During the depression, I didn't take care of myself. That happens in depression. Long story short, my oral hygiene went to hell, and these are fake. My top four, bottom teeth are fake. They literally rotted to the point they had to be knocked out, and I kept going. So this has been my rock. This has been the one thing I hold on to, and that's the determination you need if you want to truly make change, folks. You can't let anything stop you. Nothing. You need to work through it. And I know it's hard. I get it. I am one of you. But you cannot let anything stop you. Nothing. You need to be obsessed with stuff. If you have goals, for example, how bad do you want them? Valeria, let's do an exercise. Hold your breath for as long as you can. Hold your breath as long as you can. Try it. There's a reason I'm asking this. You stopped, right? Why did you stop?
Because I wanted to breathe. I
You
couldn't.
you needed to breathe, right? That's how bad you need to want change. You need to
Mm,
want it as bad as you need air in your lungs. That's how bad. You can't
powerful.
live without it.
Yeah.
That is the answer if you want change. You need to want it and need it as bad as you need the air in your fucking lungs.
Mm.
That is it.
You identify stigma as a mind virus. That's a powerful concept. How you came to this metaphor for me also, it's like this is so true. And what we can practically do every single day, a little bit to not just challenge, but really to fight this mind virus.
Well, sure. So I'll say this, and let me just sit down because my arm's killing me. Hold on
Mm-hmm.
1 second. Let me just sit down here for a second. So I'll tell you a story which happens probably every single day in the world. I'm gonna tell you a story. So mother and dad make a baby. They bring a baby into the world. Baby's growing up. They go food shopping with mom. Mom sees someone who looks a little different, has a speech impairment, working at the supermarket. They're doing their best. They have a job coach there helping them. They're doing their best. And the employee let's say the employee comes up and says, "Hey, do you need help finding food?" The mom says, "Sure, I need help reaching the soup can." As they reach out for the soup can, they make a mistake and they start stuttering, saying, "I'm sorry," over and over again. So the employee leaves. The mom says, "Thank you." And then the kid looks up. And then the mom says, "Oh, stay away from them, son. Stay away from them, daughter. They're different. They're weird."
Mm-hmm.
That's the start of it.
Mm-hmm.
That Things like that are the start of it. That is the start of the infection. Now, the infection, it will be contained there, no. Because what happens to kids? They go to school and they repeat things. Now, let's say in this example, the child is in a classroom. And in the classroom, there are 5 kids. One of them's a little different. One of them's over there like me, hugging the bee. The other one of those kids tells tells the other 3, don't go near him. He's different. Mom said different's bad. We stay away from different, don't we? Everyone else wants to be like the cool kid, don't they? So they're like, yeah, ha ha ha. And then what happens? Then groupthink. They start laughing at the kid. That's what happened to me as a little kid. They start laughing at the child. They isolate him. That becomes ingrained at a young age. As they grow up seeing that's normal. It went from one infection to one kid, then each other kid goes around and shares the same ideology and thinking. Now you went from one kid to 20. Each of those 20 go around saying different is bad, believing that. Why? Because it all started with that one woman, that one parent in that grocery store, looking down saying different is bad. And that's what we have, folks. That's the whole start of this whole goddamn thing. So that's what we're up against. We're up against stigmatizations which are installed into the generation as kids. That's how this all starts, as kids. And then you grow up and things become ingrained in you. By the time you go through middle school, it's already ingrained in you. You're going through changes and you're isolating. So where do we isolate? And I know this probably hits home in many. It hits home in me. It's hard to even talk about. But recreation, gym class, lunch. There's always that one weird kid in the corner, right? Why are they weird? Not because they did anything wrong, because they're different. And they get isolated because they're different. And they get laughed at when they try to stay with everyone else, try to fit in. They get laughed at, mocked. And then what happens when they go in the classroom? The teacher who's also been infected by this mind virus. Oh, they punish. They punish you. You're different. You're not following the rules like the regular kids. You're different. You're a problem. So they punish you. And they don't punish you alone. They punish you in front of other students, which reinforces that thought, which we started off with, that difference bad. Now we're seeing an authority figure punishing you. So now you're definitely bad, right? So that's how it starts. It's a mind virus. Nobody is born with it. Everyone is a victim of it. And then they harbor it and it grows in them. So they're a carrier of this. Think of it like other viruses in the world, like a strain of an influenza, but which affects the brain. The carrier goes around, and if you carry the flu, and if you don't know you're carrying the flu, and you go to a grocery store, and you go around other people, that it's not going to stay in your body. It's going to It's going to go to person C, and it's going to spread. That is what we're dealing with. That is why we need to spread our things harder, our things faster. We have no choice. If this can be the generation which says no, difference not bad. We can be the generation that, again, if I meet someone and have kids, I'm still single. But if I meet someone, we could be the generation which, when we see that worker in the grocery store and they come say, Mom, Dad, why is that person different? We could say, everyone has different abilities, son. Everyone has different abilities, daughter. It doesn't mean anything. It just means some folks are just different than others. And that will be the lesson.
Exactly. I'm talking like this with
Oh,
my
wait, I
kids.
can't hear you.
Exactly.
But I can't hear you.
I said,
But I think something happened with the volume.
Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now? You see, even our show is a little bit different, and it's uniqueness of that.
Yeah, it's not hearing you.
You can?
Yeah, I can't hear you.
Can you hear now? George? Can you hear now?
Yes, now I hear you.
You know, it's even our show is a little bit different, and I'm not going to call it. I'm going to encourage everybody to stay authentically, that because it's life, it's real life actually, and it's beautiful that everything has its own uniqueness and authenticity. Before, oh my God, this is really powerful, and this is so important and everything what you're doing. And also it's not just about flag, it's about movement, right? Can you please share also more about this movement and where actually people really can find you, on which platforms where they can buy flag and other?
Well, yes, you can. So neurodiversitystrengthflag.com. You can buy directly from me, and I appreciate it. There's a link in the store. It says buy double-sided flag. Click here. That's a link to my email, on my store email, and I will get back to you very shortly, and I'll tell you exactly how much. Because again, like I'm a single guy doing this, but yeah, you could get that. You can also get a wall flag, a cup, a hats. All these things. But the thing is about this, it's a movement. I really want this to spread. It has to spread. Like I said, we are up against a battle. We're up against time because every single time that we miss an opportunity to educate the parent who's going to then tell the kid that difference bad, we lose another person. We lose another mind to the stigma virus every time. That's why this is so important. And what gave me really good feelings is I've been seeing online conversations about this happening in big feeds. It's weird because I see people talking about it who I've never met. I went to the beach where this one of the places this is flying. It's flying all over New York State, by the way. And there's a sign on the beach. And I'll go into the beach story after because it's really cool. But there's a sign on the beach all about the flag, and I see people congregating there. I'm hearing things like, "Oh, what's neurodiversity? What is this? Oh, my daughter has epilepsy." Things like that. These are conversations which need to happen. They're starting. What is that? I bet there are people who saw the gold, white, and red when it's lit up the World Trade Center or Niagara Falls or Grand Central Station and asked, "What is that? Why is it lit up like that? Let me look it up." That starts a conversation. I was recently at the gym because I work out a lot now. I try to take care of myself. And my phone screensaver is a flag. Someone saw it. They asked what it was. They're like, "Oh, that's really cool. Neurodiversity, what's that?" Then another person in the gym locker room is like, "Oh, I think I've heard of that." Two people started talking about it. That's two people who wouldn't have started talking about it if they didn't see the flag. So that's why it's so important to spread this thing as far as possible. This is our only way to stop the stigma mind virus. It's the only cure. Our vaccine, our pill, our antidote is knowledge. That is what stops this spread. And we have no choice. It is a burden to bear, but it is our burden to bear. We must work hard. We can't give up. Every single time you give up, you lose another person to the mind virus, which has ruined many opportunities in your life. I want you all to think about that. Every time you want to stop advocating, you lose another person to the mind virus. That gets stronger every single time. And it's not a joke. Some people think, "Oh, Josh, you take this too seriously." How is it too serious? How many people, I'm gonna get to something dark. How many times do we hear over and over of a neurodivergent people committing suicide because they have no hope? How many times? And then people are like, "Oh, Josh, you take this so seriously." No, I'm literally trying to save lives. That is another reason I do this. What I'm trying to do is have this thing spread. So even if that one person out there, even if it's just one person out there who's hanging on, who's at the edge of a bridge or something. They feel no one is there, and then they hear about this. If that could inspire hope to one person that people that think is moving in the right direction and get them to walk back, I did my job. I am a success if I can do that. That is what this is all about. This is not about notoriety for me. This is not about. This is literally about ending the stigmas and saving lives. That's it. That's what this is literally all about. That's the main reason. That's the secret sauce in October 2021. Why? Now, the story about the beach, which is one which I shared in public. But so back in Jones Beach is my local beach. It's Long Island, New York. It's a beautiful, beautiful beach. And there's always been a flagpole. Now, I would go there first by myself, even at odd months. Like, I go there during the late fall, early winter when no one's around. And I'd also bring dates, now exes. And I'd sit down at this one bench. And I'd say one time, I'm like, "Listen, babe, do you see that flagpole?" I'm like, "Yeah, what about it?" I said, "Listen, one day before I had the design, I'd say, one day there's going to be a flag on my design. after I said the neurodiversity strength flag, after October. And I said, when did the neurodiversity strength flags go fly there? And it's going to be a flag that genuinely changes the world. And they're like, okay, sure, honey, let's keep walking. I said, no, we can't keep walking. I go on and on about how this is going to be as big as the pride flag, but it has to be like a pride flag in like 1/4 the time, and that we don't have time. And I would talk about the